afternoon, everyone. Well, it's that time of year. And yes, to one of my subscribers out in Nebraska, Ag Wild, to answer your question that you asked me here the other night, I'm doing rye. And so, just got started. So far everything seems to be going good. In fact, little side note, just kicked up a deer. There he goes. Can't see around the windshield wiper. Up, disappeared back into the corn. Anyway, so much for the dumb deer. All they do is eat the corn. But yeah, we are rolling. I will say one thing. Combining rye compared to combining wheat is sure a lot faster. Here I'm running 35 feet compared to 15 feet. I'll get turned around. Oh, you can kind of see it coming in back there. Now with rye, one of the things that we do is, you'll notice I'm not going very fast. In fact, right there, yeah, there we are. I'm only running about 1.2 miles per hour. That right there, that's my engine RPM. The reason why I'm going so slow with rye is what I do is I take and I shut my chaffer and sieve on the separating shoe. I take and I cut that down pretty tight. Reason for that is that way it cleans the rye pretty good. And that's why I'm going slow. If I push too hard, I'll just end up carrying rye right off the end of the shoe and right back onto the ground. But by cutting the chaffer and sieve down like that and going slow, it cleans it good. You don't get a bunch of trash into the rye. And you can put it into a wheat drill if you want to. The guys that we sell the rye to, they actually use it for a cover crop. And I know the one guy, in fact, the way both guys that buy most of our rye, the way they talk, they actually spread it through fertilizer spreaders. And we actually use our lime spreader. And so, but like I say, keeping the separating shoe cut down pretty tight, it lets you be able to, it keeps the rye good and clean. And like I say, you can take and run it through a wheat drill and you don't get a bunch of big old fuzz heads coming through. And looking off out that way, you can see I'm cutting a fairly low stubble. There's looking back in the mirror, kind of hard to see that. Back in here, the corn don't look too bad. It's starting to shoot some tassels. We could definitely use some more rain, that's for sure. Last week we got right at about an inch. In fact, if I remember right, last night I was watching, well, like I say, one of my subscribers out in Nebraska, Ag Wild, he said they're bone dry out that way. And so, like I say, we got about an inch or so last week, and we could definitely use more. first started, it was wanting to kind of bunch up just a little bit feeding in. But you got to get all the rust and that kind of stuff off the head and get everything shined up good. Someday I'd love to get me a big draper head. That's the ones that have instead, in place of an auger, they have conveyors. And so you got a conveyor on that half the head, and you got a conveyor on that half the head, and everything just conveys right to the middle, right to your feeder house chain, and right into the throat. And yes, for anybody wondering, and or if you've seen some of my previous videos from when I've worked on this machine, this is a Gleaner R72 combine, so it's a class 7 machine. It's a 2002. My dad and I bought it back in 2018, so about 4 years ago now. So far, we have really liked it. Got a little green patch right here. In fact, actually, I'm just going to take and cut over and bypass that. I don't want all that greenness going right into the rye. We actually got this combine out of northern Iowa. About, I don't know if I remember right, it was about an hour north of Waterloo. Little town called New Hampton, Iowa. If I remember right, it was maybe about an hour or less from the Minnesota state line. Had some good friends of mine at that time. They lived in Iowa, kind of east central Iowa. And I had went out to see them, and then when I left there, I went north, checked out the combine, then came on back home. Back here to north central Indiana. That was actually in the winter of 2018. But going clear back to my grandpa, he ran Gleaners, and so Gleaner's been in our family. Gleaner and Alice Chalmers. Right through here, the rye is actually pretty heavy. You can see where it's actually kind of gone down in spots. Some of that can be from wind. Other things, if the fertilizer got a little too heavy in that area, it'll make it go down. Reason for that, unlike wheat, well, yes, wheat can go down as well. But rye, the stock on rye is not very strong. It's pretty light, pretty flimsy. And so if you punch it with a little too much nitrogen, it can make it have a weak stalk. And then also, if you get strong wind, that can take it down as well. About 2 years ago, we had a bunch of hog crap pumped on this field, and we planted it to rye. And oh man, the rye out here was 6 feet tall at least. And yes, it went down in a lot of areas. I practically had to mow the ground. In fact, just a little shout out to some Facebook friends up in Ontario, Canada. They go by JJ&S Farms if you want to check them out on YouTube. But if I remember right, it was just last fall they got a 2004 R75, which is just the next newer version than the R72 like what I got right here. And actually, Gleaner switched over from the R72 to the R75 in 2003. So this here is a 2002, so it's the last year for the R72. Then in 2003 they went to the R75, and the basics are the same. They did change the cab. The cab is a completely different cab and setup and everything like that. Got a few more electronic things onto it. But other than that, they're basically the same. But like I say, they got an R75 with a 35-foot draper head. And just from what I've been seeing, they're going to be starting wheat harvest up there. In fact, I don't know, it may be this week, possibly. I'm not positive now. And so, if you want to check them out, just get on YouTube, go to JJ&S Farms, Ontario, Canada, and that's them. Right here, the rye's kind of gone down, and it's wanting to kind of stop my reel. Probably can't really hear on the phone. But down there on that end, no, you can kind of see those hydraulic lines kind of looping down around there. There is actually a bypass valve, and so just like right there, if the reel begins to stop, because it's all hydraulic drive, instead of running the risk of tearing something up or causing hydraulic trouble, what it will do is it will simply bypass the oil through that valve down there. I'm guessing it's probably got like some kind of like a spring-loaded ball valve system inside of it, would be my guess anyway. But by doing that, it doesn't let you tear anything up. Kind of running into a tough spot right there. The rye's down, so you gotta watch it when it kind of just ball up and slug in. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to call this the end of part one, so if it works out, maybe I can grab some more video here a little later on. I'll just have to see. My cousin, he's actually up here from Georgia, and so he might hop in, ride shotgun with me for a while, and so it may be kind of hard to grab some video today. And so, like I say, I'll just have to see how things go. And so, take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.